All right. Well, welcome everybody. So to my first episode of Stream Life. That's the title I'm going with, at least right now. Open the other ideas, but the purpose of this show is to really talk to other content creators and learn about their lives, how they how they got into streaming, what some unique challenges that they have. So as I mentioned earlier, I'm building a life coaching business, and I'm a passionate coach. I've been coaching in my day job for a long time. And it's something that I'm really passionate about, and I want to really help coach gamers and streamers. As far as more so, less on like here's how to build a really awesome stream. Although I could help you with that, help you meet really any goal that you have, but really help anybody in life meet their goals, as well as especially things that happen to us internally. So things that our thoughts that play a huge role in our well-being. That's something especially I've learned this last year, and that's what's driven me to be more passionate about helping others and using my gifts as empathy, communication, and being able to relate to other people, and being a coach and a teacher. So I want to use those skills and quote unquote I like to call superpowers to help others live their best life possible. So that's the purpose of the show, and I wanted to get my good friend GuyGrumpy on here. So I've known you for maybe about a year, I think.
About a year.
Yeah, I can't remember how we met specifically. If we met from Alkali Lake stream.
Yep.
What I think. Okay.
That's exactly it.
Okay, good. So then we got to meet at TwitchCon and BlizzCon last year, which was awesome. I missed those.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So
2020 has been kind of crazy.
Yeah, 2020 has been a very interesting year, to say the least. But I think hopefully it'll lead to some good change and a lot of different things. But that's not what we're here to talk about, because we could take a 5-hour show to talk about 2020, and it still wouldn't be enough. So with that, so I want to jump into kind of one of the main topics is what is it like to lead an esports team, and tell us a little bit about the team itself. Feel free to just share everything about it, because I'm relatively new to HypeHorizen, so I want to make sure everybody knows everything they need to know about HypeHorizen.
Well, first, I guess let me just give a quick intro for myself.
Yes, please.
So I'm GuyGrumpy. Like Rye said, we met about a year ago through Alkali Lake's chat. She's been a really big mentor for me in getting started with streaming, but now I've been streaming Hearthstone on Twitch for about a year and a half, a little bit longer than that. And recently started the sports team, HypeHorizen, which is a joint venture that I got involved in because of my my time with F2K Comnet. So I had a bit of experience being on a team and seeing the things that we liked and the things that we didn't, and talking with a lot of others on the team as one of their ambassadors, along with Rye. So that experience kind of led Venga Dragon and D-Money Games to reach out to me to start the HypeHorizen team. And actually, one of the hardest things that right out the gate was coming up with a name. We knew we wanted a team, but we wanted to find something that everybody liked, and we went through a whole bunch of iterations. It probably took us a month to settle in on HypeHorizen, which was really because it was available. We thought we had a bunch of chill gamers lined up, and the three of us, and then the people that we were thinking originally. So hence the misspelling, and of course it was available on all platforms. So myself, I'm more of a community streamer, although we do have an esports team as well that competes. We had 4 members in the Hearthstone Masters Tour this weekend, with D-Money going 6-3 and Gamer RVG going 5-4. There are 2 that made it to the second day. So we're really proud of our team there. And then on the stream team side, we have a bunch of friends, really, people that we had worked with before, either through Comnet or just had good relationships with our streams. So we're up to 14 members now.
Nice.
With a couple more that'll be announced soon.
It's awesome. So yeah, that's really cool. And so that was a couple of my questions. How did it come about to co-found? So is Venga Dragon and D-Money reached out to you and said, hey, we need to start a team. We need to start our own team.
And actually, when I joined F2K Comnet, it was pretty soon into my streaming. Really, actually, pretty soon into when I became an affiliate, and I kind of questioned what the benefits really were and stuff. And Venga was one of the people that I first met on Twitch, so we had a pretty good relationship even back then, and talked about it. And he's like, "Well, maybe we should start our own." Even back at that point, but since neither of us really understood the platform or what that would entail, we kind of put it on the back burner. So that's why I think I was on top of mind for Venga at least um, when they decided to form it. And I'm not sure between the two of them who who came up with the idea saying we need to do this together, but it's really worked out well for us.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's I didn't realize you guys had, like most other teams, you had a stream team and a competitive team too. So that's really cool.
The hard part there was finding the right people, because we wanted to get a group together um, that were positive streamers, and sometimes, especially in Hearthstone, can be very tilting. Then it's hard to find the right group, and then it's also hard to find the people that are on the right projection
Yeah.
for growth, because there's some people that will burn out early. They'll stream for a year or 8 months or something, and then not stream anymore. So finding the people that we thought had the right mindset and the right trajectory was a bit of a challenge. But I think we put together a really, really good team. Unfortunately, it means that some people were left out that we all love. And so to that point, we're kind of looking at options for adding a third, more community-based stream that would be more tiered and give people a path to the main team, just to make sure that all of our friends have a capability of being involved in HypeHorizen.
Yeah, very cool. Well, that kind of leads into my next question. What kind of qualifications are you looking for to get members on to either one of those sides of the team?
So right now, we really targeted 5 for the competitive team because that's what you need for some of the team-based competitions. So as a result, we're kind of set there. On the stream team, we're looking for some people that are at or close to partnership levels and that still stream a fair amount every month. So we kind of set it at 40 concurrent viewers, 500 followers, and 30 hours streamed a month, just to try to make it somewhat consistent for what we're looking for. And we think we'll be able to push people that are at those numbers and have a bit of a trajectory behind that up to the partnership levels. And really the focus for the reason for that is one of the big objections when we talk to sponsors is that we don't have enough partners. So by getting people that are at or close to partnership levels, then we're hoping we'll be able to push that over the edge.
Yeah, that's very cool. So as what does a day to day look like for you as a co-founder of that? Like, what responsibilities do you have? Just with the team on top of, you doing your own stream and, full-time job and all your other responsibilities. What does your being a co-founder look like? What are your responsibilities?
Honestly, it's really doing searches for things like finding people that we think would be good ads or people that we can work with sponsors or tools that we can use to help manage the team. Those are all kind of the things that I take over, whereas we've divided it up a bit. So Venga handles our marketing and finding tools around that. Like when we did giveaways, he did the research into what tools we could use to make those go a bit smoother. D-Money still manages, making sure that the team has all the information that they need to succeed, whether that be practice times for the competitive team or making sure that we're following through on merchandising ideas for the stream team. And things like that. So there's a lot of communications between the three of us just about what we want to focus on. There's a lot of putting together the tiers for the community team that I'm working on. Really kind of more behind the scenes things that aren't super glamorous,
Yeah.
but that hopefully set us up for success once we start getting those sponsors coming in.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're wearing a couple hats. I remember the first part I was thinking like community manager. So you're trying to find like other people in the community you can bring in. And what was the other responsibility you said?
Really finding the tools for managing
Oh,
the
tools.
team,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
especially as we go,
Yeah.
as we have three different teams in the future, or even two teams now. Just making sure that we have a easy way to make sure that everybody's following everybody on social media and on
Yeah.
Twitch. That they have the iconography for HypeHorizen up on their streams, things like that.
Yeah.
There's ways we can automate that rather than having to manually check it, and so that's
Nice.
kind of our next phase, is looking through that and then answering any questions from the team themselves.
Yeah, so that's like the standards and practices of a corporation. You're like, yeah, you're like HR, and then the standards and practices, making sure everybody's like got everything set up and everything's working efficiently and kind of compliant. So those are like two of my favorite things in the real world too, right there. So I appreciate those things, like community manager, like, hey, getting connected with these people. This would be people that would be great on the team. Like I've kind of done that a little bit with F2K ComNet actually, and even for F2K, there's a couple members on F2K that I actually reference over to there. So I love that whole connecting people side. So that's pretty fun.
Yeah.
So how long do you think you spend a week with your just the behind the scenes commitment?
It varies a lot from week to week. Some weeks, then I don't have a lot of tasks on my plate, and then it's maybe a couple of hours just trying to brainstorm ideas for requirements for different tiers on the community team, or making a few calls to potential sponsors, doing Google searches for things like that. I would say on an average week, I probably put 10 to 12 hours into HypeHorizen. Um, Sometimes more, sometimes less, depending on what's going on.
Hmm. So what's the hardest part of running a stream team?
Uh, well, honestly, I think we'll get to some of that later, but the
Okay.
hardest part for me is just making sure that I am providing value. Because sometimes, with the big name like D Money and with all of Venga's talent and expertise, I kind of sometimes feel like I'm not really contributing as much, and need to find ways to provide more value. Um, and it's just a mental thing. It's always
Yeah.
difficult. Mental things are always the difficult ones to manage.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, and yeah,
After
like
after that, it's convincing sponsors that a team that just started in June is worth investing in,
sure.
that plays just one game and is relatively small. So
Sure. Well, I mean, it already sounds like the trajectory for the team is, for a new team, it seems like you guys have already accomplished a lot. I mean, having a competitive team and having a couple people make it the day two,
yeah,
that's pretty awesome. So I'm. It sounds like a great, like, I know you're leading it as well. So I've had lots of personal interactions with you, and I know it'll continue to go forward, especially with you working hard on it 10 to 12 hours a week on top of streaming, on top of full-time job, on top of anything else that you have to do in life. That's a lot.
yeah. Fortunately, I've got a support system here that's very open to it and
Yeah.
very supportive. So
Yeah. Good. Yeah. I mean, it's they say behind any successful person is another successful spouse or significant other, or so that's awesome that you have that. So, are you okay with taking some questions from chat?
absolutely.
Yeah. So, chat, this is your chance to really chime in. And what questions do you have for Guy Grumpy or about HypeHorizen? I know there was a good one that I saw earlier that I wanted to ask about. Um, so you're mainly playing Hearthstone, or is there any plans to get into any other games?
Yes, I wouldn't say we have plans yet, but we know that it's something we're going to need to do, especially as we've been talking to others. Then we'll probably look at ones that have some overlap in audience, but we understand we're going to need to jump to very different things. So
Mhm.
most likely we'd start with like a League of Legends or a Counter Strike that we have some people that are already good at
Mhm.
and interested in. Maybe passing into some other other games, looking at whatever's popular at the time. Possibly even like a Runeterra, which would have a lot of crossover as well.
Yeah.
Really, though, focusing on Hearthstone until we get to a point where it makes sense to expand beyond that.
Yeah. So yeah, we had Tungsten. Thank you for the question. I think we just kind of answered that right there. So I read your mind. Ben, I think your question is how the idea to start HypeHorizen. So that was from D Money and Venga Dragon, right? And it didn't sound like you knew. Like, did you know where they decided to come up with the team?
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I know that it's something that Venga's always wanted to do. That he's got a lot of experience on the poker side of the house, but has always kind of been fascinated with the esports. So my inclination would be to say that it was Venga's idea, and he saw when D Money hit #1 or was getting close to #1, they had a really good relationship, both of them having grown up in the same general vicinity in New York, and so they really connected and formed that bond. And then D Money is just such a great leader and personality that it made sense for him to be the leader of something. So that's just kind of a natural progression, I think.
Yeah, and he will be my guest for next week is the plan. So excited about that. And he will actually be hitting his 365th day this week.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. Well, I found him I rated him, I think, on like his 14th or 17th day. I think he says I was his first big raid, I believe. So
nice.
So I rated him, and then I could just tell what drew me in though was the whole, hey, you're going to be streaming for 365. I'm like, that's going to take some commitment. That's awesome. I want to get on the ground level of the D Money stock. So, and I did.
Yeah, I think I was pretty early too. Not early enough to get one of the founders badges, but I think I found him through the housewife, actually.
Okay. So the one question we had, and it's a little bit unrelated to this, but we'd still like to hear it, would be, what video game or maybe video games play a special place in your heart?
Man, there's so many. There's been so many throughout the years that have really stuck with me. I'm a big fan of the Pac-Man games. I'm not, infinite at them or the greatest, but that was the first video game I ever had. I even got it before Pong. So there's always going to be a place for Pac-Man and all the different variants in my heart. And actually, that's another good one because Cookies, or Jelly Bee's daughter, that's one that we were trying to get her to play with the adaptive Xbox controller. So it's one that's a bit more accessible and one I really want to get her to be able to do. So even more reason to like Pac-Man is that it's pretty simple controls and should be easy to adapt for that sort of thing. Skyrim also is one that I played a whole lot. If I had to pick between any of the Elder Scrolls games, I probably played that the most. My cats are named after characters from Skyrim, so or from Elder Scrolls in general, but really brought about by the dragons in Skyrim. So I guess those would be. And then the other one I'd have to call out is Diablo. I was playing a lot of Angband at the time, and the first Diablo just kind of took that into a graphics form, and probably among the most played games. When my brother got married, then we instead of a bachelor party per se, then we just stayed up the night before and tried to beat the original Diablo with the expansion, with the Hellfire expansion, because we just hadn't done it yet. So it was kind of fun.
Yeah, Diablo, I forgot about that. We were talking about that before the stream. Diablo is special to me as well. I think especially Diablo 2. It's very special to me. So because that game was out forever. And it had, I remember getting the level 99, I think it was, many times because I'd play it. Me and one of my best friends from middle school, we'd play it. We'd get up to 99, then, we wouldn't hang out for a couple of years just because I was off to college and he was doing his own thing. And then sometimes we'd hang out in the summers and be like, hey, let's just reinstall Diablo 2 and just start over again. Okay. And so yeah, Diablo, love me some Diablo. That's probably I guess that's maybe the first Blizzard game I really fell in love with. Before World of Warcraft and before Hearthstone. Let's see. We got another couple of questions here. So we have from Noodle Vicuña. So he says, I feel like the production value of your stream and other HypeHorizen streams are really high. Where does that come from? Does that come from any previous experience? Any standards of practice you have? You must have at least this quality of webcam or you're not on the team.
No, we don't have anything like that, although I have to admit we've gravitated towards others that are serious about the hobby. For me, it's more that I got into the tech and the gadgetry before I got into streaming. Like I started wanting to do something with a camera and wanted a nice microphone and had all these other gadgets. Like actually when I started streaming, put it in quotes, it was more than a year and a half ago in 2018. Then I did a few test streams where I would play a little bit of Hearthstone, but mostly I would be trying to play MLB The Show. And so it was more just to test out the technology. And so I had a pretty high production value stream for somebody that didn't have any inclination of streaming to anybody. And even to the point that when someone would come into stream, I would shut down the stream because I didn't want to talk to them. It was more just to play around with the technology. So I kind of started with the technology first, and then when I realized I wanted to actually have an audience, then it was just natural progression. And I think that a lot of people that get passionate about streaming end up upgrading quickly because they recognize that it's going to be a hobby they're going to really invest in and invest their time in, and so it's just a natural to want to invest some money in it too.
Yeah. What microphone do you use?
I currently have the Elgato Wave 3.
Okay.
Which is relatively new. One of the reasons behind it is they have a second filter, I guess. So if you create some really loud noises, then it doesn't. I forget the technical term. It doesn't clip.
Okay.
It'll drop to the lower frequency.
Yeah, I know D-Money just got a brand new mic. I was actually asking him about it the other day. Well, and I think when I was talking with you at TwitchCon, I think especially we were hanging out on the second or third day. We were hanging around all the technology stuff too. So I think it was me, you, somebody from F2K, and a couple other people as well. We were just kind of walking around. Then I think I saw your eyes light up. What's that?
I think it was GJC also.
Yeah. Oh yeah, GJC. Yep. GJC was there. And I think I just saw your eyes light up when we got to the technology area. And for me, I actually get a little intimidated by it. I am a bit of a nerd, but more so like simplify it, nerdy to me. Like I used to kind of geek out on like computer parts and stuff like that, but I got to a point where I'm like, you know what? I don't have the attention span for it. Things keep upgrading too quick. There's too many letters and numbers after the names of these models. I can't distinguish these, so I give up on it. Now I'm to the point where, like my computer, I had a buddy build last year, pretty high-end computer, because I was planning to stream Fallout 76. I think I streamed it once, and then Fallout 76 got really bad, and then now I had this souped-up computer to stream Hearthstone, and now IRL streams. So more than what I need, but I had thought about upgrading my mic. So we're gonna have to talk some more on mic upgrades.
Well, we may have some other news for you from a HypeHorizen perspective on
good
mics.
Okay. That's a little tease, I guess. So,
teaser, yeah.
All right. Appreciate that. Any other questions you guys have for GuyGrumpy before we kind of move into some of the other topics? Yeah, Diablo 1. Supercomputer for Hearthstone. I know, right? It just, those legendaries hitting the ground are just even better now.
Honestly, though, streaming can take up all of your resources. So, especially as you add some high quality backgrounds and transitions, and you want to go with a higher frame rate or resolution, all of your resources can be chewed up. So even though Hearthstone will run on a potato, you can still use all the rest of the resources to improve your stream.
Yeah, it's... I've definitely enjoyed having this more souped up computer because I just kind of forgot to restart. I don't usually turn off my computer, so I might not restart it for 2 or 3 weeks and, stream and play games. And it says, hey, you haven't restarted the computer in a couple weeks. Maybe you should do that. I'm like, okay, sure, I'll do that. Everything works.
Yeah, so I'm streaming off of a 3-year-old, actually 3.5-year-old laptop now. So I have to reboot before every stream at least, just to clear out any memory leaks and other things like that. I do have a new PC on the way that a friend of mine built, same idea as you. It's pretty high specs that hopefully we'll have by next weekend so that we can put it all together and have a nice upgrade for the following week.
Yeah. We had another question from Sabotage. So was there any specific lacking reason from the previous esports team? So being on F2K ComNet, I know we were both ambassadors on there before, that made you want to get involved in HypeHorizen, or was it just more so being reached out to with HypeHorizen?
Yeah, there wasn't really a fallout. I'm actually still part of the Discord and check it out on occasion. I made a lot of great friends there and still am with even some of the other ambassadors and administrators. So they've actually been kind of helpful in getting HypeHorizen started up and answering some questions and putting me in contact with people. So awesome. Definitely no hard feelings there. I think it was more of an opportunity thing that I guess my biggest challenge with F2K ComNet was seeing a path to F2K that they rarely took people from the ComNet community up onto the main team. And so it was a little bit disheartening to not see others get successful and then pulled over and end up staying on the community team. So rather than be stuck there kind of for a long time with limited kickbacks, I guess, I figured joining HypeHorizen when the opportunity presented itself was a good opportunity to get a little bit deeper into the inner works and potentially have a path to more superstardom. Yeah,
absolutely. Good. Hey, thank you. And hey, Warshak, good to see you. Speaking of celebrities in Hearthstone, Wicked says, what's your sales pitch to a prospective member for joining a team versus being on their own? What do you feel the team brings in terms of value? Great question.
That is a really great question. So when and it's kind of difficult at this point. Right now, we're not putting people under contract or anything. So it's more of a, hey, if you want to join a team that's growing and here are our plans for the future, then this is a good time to join. You get in at the get-go, and we'll support you in any way that we can. If there's anything that you see that you need, we will work to get that for you. We've had a few false starts on some of those, but we want to offer a less expensive graphics designer that we trust. We'll do some evaluation of their work before we bring them onto the team to make sure that it's something that we know you'll get good quality, and it's not just something off of Nerd or Die or one of those default sites. Might still be someone that has a Fiverr presence, but it's more direct contact where we don't have to work through their pricing structures. Same thing, we're looking to add some video editing services because we have a lot of people that are interested in YouTube. And so providing them a little bit cheaper access to that. We've also done a bunch of giveaways. Hopefully those of you that are watching have been paying attention to our HypeHorizen Twitters. We'll have a bunch of giveaways for all the new packages that come out for Hearthstone, and more to come on that, as well as promoting each other. It's a really it's a good team that respects each other and works well with each other. So you'll get raids and you'll get noticed by the other people on the team, and I think we've done a really good job of making sure that everybody works well together. So
that's awesome. Yeah, that's a pretty good sales pitch.
Yeah. Now obviously we can't compete with some of the bigger teams that pay players yet, but someday.
That's right. There we go. Awesome. So I think we have another question. So we'll take the last round of questions. So please throw those in chat, and then we'll kind of transition to a new topic here shortly. But so Ryu Warrior asks, are there going to be regular HypeHorizen co-op streams? I don't know if that's maybe for you as far as UND money and all that, or anything like that?
It's something that we would like to encourage, and actually on our team meeting this morning, then it came up that hey, we should do something to do more team building because we all like each other.
Yeah.
We have all different schedules, so look for an Among Us stream for the Scream
Okay.
team coming soon, and then I believe there's some others that are in the works I can't really talk about yet. Between collaborations between people, it might not be streams, but more other content. But be on the lookout, and we
Okay.
will be encouraging more of that in the future.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like we have. I mean, you're doing a good job of playing. Throwing some teases out there and throwing a little bit. So I can tell you've had some practice with the value proposition. So yeah, that's great. Good. Okay.